So I updated the mortar scripts. I know a lot of you haven't made mortars, but a few of you have, even though Amnesty made the biggest pack of mortars. So right now, I'm just helping him out, updating some of the mortars because I changed the, as you might have heard or seen on Steam or on my streams or whatever, but I changed the mortar scripts in the game and also in the mod tools, but it doesn't really matter. It's in the game that's what matters. And that make it perform better and behave a little different. But what is important to note is that you have to, or you can update your mortar mods so they perform and work a lot better with this new updated mortar scripts. And one of the biggest changes is how we don't need this why can't I move that, this all these boxes here. Okay, if I could focus on this one, come on. All these boxes you see around here that is made to make this physics all the colliders basically to do this tube collision physics behavior basically, so you can put stuff into the mortar. This has worked okay, but there's been some challenges and performance issues with it, so I changed it now so we can do it in another way. So what that means is that you can actually simplify the colliders of your mortars and still have them work as they used to, or the new scripts work, but they will perform and actually you can work with them a lot better. You know, as a player, you can use them a lot better because the physics is not messing up and jittering and stuff like that. So what do you need to do? So I thought I'd just record this little video of me doing a few of these 5-inch mortars from Amnesty's pack to show a real-world example of how it works or what you should do to update it. So in this case, Amnesty made a nice object here to hold all the colliders, and we have a base collider here in the bottom, which we still need. By the way, I just use this to go into orthographic mode so we don't have any depth, then it's much easier to do stuff like this. And to move around like this, I'm holding down the middle mouse button to move around, like this. So this bottom one here is actually something we have to make it stand up, because these mortars you typically want to stand up, and with the typical capsule collider, they're round in the bottom, as you will see in a moment, and that can't stand. So we have these colliders in the bottom. Amnesty made them a little smaller. You can do whatever fits you, but I like them to be more or less the size of how the mortar looks here from the side, even though it make it go outside here. When you see it from the top, it's actually going outside the actual mortar. You can take it in so it kind of, so it fits a bit better like this. You can also do that, but I typically want to have it like, basically actually like this, to be honest, because it prevents it from rolling around. And even though, a mortar can roll around in real life, it can also give some extra physics stuff that you typically don't even want. And if it's completely round, it will just keep rolling in some cases, which again, typically don't want. So I typically do a pretty big bottom collider like this, but you can adjust it as you want. Nothing has changed there. It's still the same. This collider is marked as not a trigger, so it's a collider, so it acts with the physics. That's cool. So what we do need to remove are all of these, because these are, as I said in the beginning, are here to do this physics shape of the tube basically. So we can delete all of these because we don't need it. And then from the top here, you can do whatever you want that fits your mortar, but I typically, in Amnesty's case here, remove this capsule collider we have on the root object. You can have it there too. That's also fine. But in we will see in a moment some cases where there are more mortar tubes, and then yeah, anyway, you'll see in a moment. So I'll remove that one, and I will go down to the mortar tube, and I will adjust this collider here. So the capsule collider is, it's hard to see here because it's a black background. Let's do it like this. So it's roughly around the edge here. It's not that important. You can also see it's a little too big here, so we can make it a little smaller. Okay, very hard to see. Something like that. And then we wanna take the top one. This is the one, and this is even more important in the new version here, because this is the one where when stuff goes into this collider, they will be sucked in to the mortar and shrink down and put into the mortar. And this is the way you load stuff in. It's more automatically, you could say, where in the previous version you had to fiddle with the physics to get stuff into it. So anyway, so and also in the new one, we used to have it here, but I actually like to move it up a bit because it gives a little bigger area, and I typically also make it a little bigger, something like that. In this case, it's 0.08, but you will have to fit. This is a 5-inch. You will have to change it to something that fits your. But I typically have it something like this. So the area here, this trigger here is fairly big, and this one is still a trigger, so nothing changed there. So that's basically the change. And now, because we removed all these collider, this one will now perform a lot better. In these single shot ones, it's the performance is not, we checked that one. The performance is not that big of a deal. You can't feel it that much. But I'll just move on here and record, just keep recording. It will be a long video. You can just skip ahead if you want to. But I just want to show you a few of these so you can see how I do it here at least. And then you can do the same on your mortars, even though only a very few of you have made mortars. But it's also like, how many can you actually do? So we take this one and take down here. It's fine. It doesn't have to be. You can see this is also a little too big. Does it matter? But not really. It doesn't have to be that precise. And then we need to remove this capsule collider here. So we only have a capsule collider on the mortar tube. There can be cases where it makes sense to have it on the root node. We could also have it here instead of here, but when we have multiple mortar tubes, as you will see in a moment, we want this one because we want to be able to target each individual mortar tube. But you will see that in a moment. So going up here, that's fine. Perfect. Boom. 5 yellow. Also, there's a yellow one too. Okay, so let's remove these. We do a yellow one. So there's a yellow, black, orange, and yellow one. Okay. Again, we go. Now let's take the base collider first. I'm not sure I need to, because I guess, yeah, we might need to do it actually here too, because now we remove the other collider, so it don't have that to use when you want it to stand up. But anyway, I'm just talking here. Boom, like that. And this one, gonna build that, take that down a bit smaller. Up here, collider, boom, like that. Perfect. So now we get to the more interesting part. So we took that one, we took that one, and we took that one. Perfect. And then we have this one. So here we will see a bigger performance gain. I won't test that in this video, but just know that the more we have of these mortars in a mortar rack, as you have here, the more improvement you will have by doing this. So in this case, because we now have multiple, and we can now do things a bit different. Because now we can actually, even though we have a base collider here, we don't really need, we can remove all these colliders because we don't need any collider specific on each mortar tube. You can see we have these three specific separate mortar tubes, and we don't need any physics collider on the individual ones. What we do need is a capture collider here on each one, and that is, as I said before, so we can, you know, look at each of them and put stuff into them and ignite each of them and connect a fuse to individual ones. So that's why that is important. And then we can take all of these, and now you can see I multi-select and do multiple at the time, because then it's a lot easier to do it like that. And now you saw before I removed all the colliders from the mortar tubes, all of these three here, and that's because the rack colliders are here, and they are, let me see, so they are right now, it goes a little under the ground here because it's placed like that, but you can see Amnesty did actually a great job of trying to do some fairly simple colliders here. On this one, oh, my right mouse button is wrong, something wrong, I guess. But it can actually be done even simpler, because you can see here he's using like 4 box colliders to do these things, but we can actually get it down to 2 and have it basically behave the same way, but we just half the amount of colliders, which the physics engine enjoys because it's easier to calculate for it. So we want to keep it as simple as possible. So what I'm doing here is that I'm taking one of the colliders and moving up here. So we have a collider for the tubes, because, you know, if it tips around, you want these to somewhat collide with the surroundings. And I take this collider that is out here and drag it all the way over here. So, and that fits the entire one here. So now with 2 boxes instead of 4, I'm actually covering the same area and basically give the same physics behavior. You can say now it's as you look at from the top here, they are going out here instead of, you know, the real mortar is round here and we have a collider here. So if stuff gets close to this corner, it will hit this one and can never get into the mortar here, if that makes sense. But these are the details that we are sacrificing for better performance. So that's why we're doing this. And this box collider, we actually don't need that, I think, anymore, because now we have these ones down here, which are fine. I have changed the logic a bit in the game, because before you had to have one here to be able to look at and target the stuff, and yeah, for some triggering and identifying that you were looking at it. But I changed that logic, so now it should actually be fine having just the colliders on these sub nodes here instead of on this one up here. It's on a sub game object, child game object under the root node here. So now we simplified this like a lot. We removed a lot of colliders, and that's basically just how you continue. And then of course now I'm doing it pretty quickly here and just move on. Of course, back up before you start doing this, and then test each individual one. When you've done it, build the mod, test it in the game, and see it still works and behave as expected. I'm just doing it pretty fast here because I've already done a lot of them and have played around with it for a while. So yeah, so that was just a little video, even though it was 15 minutes. But now at least I show this is basically how you need to do it for all of them. And yeah, and that's it. And then all the mortars should now perform a lot better with this change. But this will only work in the game, but I won't release this video until after the game has been published, I guess. So it doesn't really matter, but it will be after 25.6.2. After that, this should work. Because if you do this too early, before that, it will be weird and not working very good. So anyway, just a little brief quick video about that. See you and happy modding.